What's up, gang? Mike here, head trader at True Trading Group, and on April 24th, really nice day, but I did something that I don't normally do, and that is trade a stock into earnings. I shorted Tesla early this morning. Going into earnings, I expected some downward action. Intraday, wanted to take some profit off before the bell to reduce my risk going into earnings. I did that. Earnings came out. We got a quick flush to the downside. I was able to take more off the table, and now we're bouncing back. I'll go over that with you. I'll go over what happened with Tesla. I'll go over with you what they said on their conference call. That's going on now. That caused kind of really big whiplash action, guys. Right off the earnings print, we went down to 252. We went from 252 straight up to 266, then back down to 251, then back up to 264, and now here we are sitting at 259 at 5:55 p.m. Eastern. Okay, I still am holding 25% of this position short. This is a swing trade. I entered this as a swing trade. I still do intend on holding the 25% of this position. I'm looking for a break below the 250 area. Okay, 250 is a major area of support for Tesla. It has not traded below that area or below that support level since like January of 2017. I'll take you guys to a weekly chart of Tesla so you can see what I'm referring to. Okay, here is that 250 level. Again, guys, this is a weekly chart, and here you can see this support level at around this 250 area for Tesla. Okay, now I'll go to a daily chart, show you on the daily chart. And as I zoom this out, you guys can see, okay, here is this support level. Okay, you can see we've gotten below 250 a couple of times, but down to 249 or whatever it is. But this 250 area is a major level of support, and I'm looking for Tesla to break below that level. To me, it feels like the wheels are kind of coming off of Tesla, and I think we're going to start to get, I think finally this level, I think this level is going to give up. And I think we're going to get this rollover action in Tesla, and my final take profit on this is going to probably be around 240, somewhere around that 240 level. Okay, but again, guys, I shorted this today. Right there was my initial short. I covered some right there before the bell, and then on that print, guys, I covered more right there. So there are my trades on Tesla. I'll take you to my trade announcements real quick. I'm gonna go over with you guys the whole concept and premise behind the trade. So you guys can see at 9:39 a.m. swing trade short Tesla 262.53. And then before the bell at 3:50 p.m., I took some profit, covered Tesla at 259.06, so $3.50 a share gain on 25% of my position. And then at 5:15 p.m. after they announced earnings, you see took more profit, covered Tesla 252, still holding some. That's a $9.50 per share gain on the bulk of my position. That's 50% of my position. So I sold 25%, covered 25%, covered 50%, still holding on, okay, to a final 25% of this position. What I'm looking for to have happen now, guys, is for us to fade away this bounce off of that 250 area. This is that same 250 support level that we just talked about. We got a nice big bounce off that, and now we're starting to fade that. I'm looking for us to continue to fade that in the rest of the after-hour session, and then eventually give us a gap down tomorrow, and then I think we're going to get down and start to test that 250. I think if Tesla starts to print 249, 248.50, and we start to really get below 250 and start to trade below 250, I think some stop losses are going to get triggered, and I think you're going to start to see maybe a little bit of an accelerated move to the downside on Tesla. That'll be more of a momentum move triggered by a bunch of stop losses kind of kicking in, stop losses that have maybe been in place with a bunch of computers and algorithms for 2 years. So we'll see what happens. Okay, but this was already a home run trade, $9.50 per share on the bulk of the position. So I'm really happy with how this trade has unfolded. Okay, and my thought process behind this trade, like I said, I don't usually trade stocks going into earnings, and the reason for that is, probably to date the worst trade I've ever made in my life. Was an earnings play, and I was short of stock going into earnings. Earnings were so good, the stock was halted. They announced earnings and opened up and gapped up like $92. and I was shorted. It was horrible. And ever since then, I've been kind of scarred, and I never, I really don't trade into earnings because it's such an unknown factor. You don't know. You don't know if the company's going to report good earnings, bad earnings. They're going to give good guidance, bad guidance. You don't know what they're going to say on the conference call. You just never know. It's a complete unknown. You're basically gambling at that point, and I don't like to gamble. I like to put as many of those factors in my favor as I possibly can. So that's why I usually don't trade into earnings, but I thought with Tesla, I have a very specific game plan. I've been talking about Tesla a lot lately. On April 3rd and then into the 4th, we had the option swing trade where I had made a 426% gain on put options on Tesla. And I've been short-minded ever since, or even before that. And I still do to this day right now think that we are going to get below 250. Tesla's earnings were bad. Okay, they lost more than they were expected to lose, so you had the initial sell-off. But what happens next, Tesla is saying that, so Q1 was horrible, but they think Q2 is going to be a lot better. They're going to drastically cut the losses that they experienced in Q1 and Q2. Then Q3, they're going to be back to profitability. And then Q4, they're going to double their production. I mean, that's a lot to do in a very short period of time. And I'm just not buying it, guys, just to be honest with you. I'm just not buying it. I think more so, if anything, it's like it feels like Tesla is ripping the Band-Aid off very, very slowly. Just tear the Band-Aid off, because making claims like that, saying that, you're going to cut your losses next quarter, you're going to be profitable Q3, you're going to double your production by Q4. Those are very specific projections that you're making, and they're very, aggressive projections, and you're setting yourself up to miss that guidance and to miss those projections. So I don't know. I just feel like they had bad Q1 deliveries, they had bad Q1 earnings, and that's also part of the reason why I thought Q1 earnings were going to be poor. They had really poor Q1 delivery numbers. That was the premise behind the April 3rd, April 4th swing trade on the put options, was going into that data. So there was a little bit that I had working in my favor on that short, but on the short going into earnings today, what I want to talk to you guys about here was my short, this morning, right there at that 262.53 area. And then I covered a piece of the position, guys, right there before the bell, because I do not want to go into the earnings print fully exposed on my position. I had a big position on this short. So I did not want to take the entire position into the earnings print. What I was planning on doing, if Tesla did not sell off in the afternoon, I thought we were going to sell off in the afternoon. I got that. I got that afternoon sell-off. And I said, if we sold off in the afternoon, I was going to take some profit off the table, reduce my risk going into the earnings print. However, if we did not sell off going into the earnings print, I was going to hedge this short position by buying call options. So in case earnings were good and then we shot up to 275, I can offset some of my loss on the short with gains on the call options. Then if earnings were bad and Tesla dropped to 250, 240, then I would lose the entire investment that I'm putting into those call options, but it would be well more than covered by the profit I would make short the actual stock itself. So that was my game plan, but I didn't have to buy the call options because I got the sell-off in the afternoon. You can see here, I'll just pan in a little bit. You guys can see here, Tesla, we sold off in the afternoon, and there's my short entry, and then there's my take profit right before the close. So, I was set up really nice there going into the earnings print, and then right when earnings were released and we shot down, I wanted to take the bulk of my position off in front of 250 because that 250 is a major support level. We just talked about that. So that's why I covered the bulk of it at 252 in front of that 250 area. And now I'm sitting here stress-free with the rest of my position, and I can just let the trade work itself out. So again, this was meant to be a swing. I entered it today going into earnings. It's meant to be a swing. I still do think we're going to get below 250. We'll see. My stop on the rest of this position is right around 266. So if we get above 266, I'm probably going to be covering this last piece of position. But again, short from 262.53 was already a home run trade, even if I get stopped out on the last piece of this position. So we'll see what happens. And before I go, one last lesson I want to cover with you, and it's a bearish signal because we identified this super early. on MTP and was able to exit this trade well before the sell-off. You can see MTP was, had a real nice move in the morning, got everybody excited, was a leading gapper, and then you can see it just completely crapped and fell apart and just got crushed the entire rest of the day. And we were able to recognize that weakness in this stock very early and actually exit this position, okay, in here based on a specific bearish signal that we identified. And I'm going to go over that with you on a way that you can tell that when a stock is starting to weaken, when it's starting to tire, and when it's starting to run out of steam. So MTP here gaps up, okay, gives us a nice strong push, and then what we start to notice here, guys, was that we started to put in a consolidation and start to form a bull flag at the 23.6 Fibonacci level. So here's your 23.6 Fibonacci level, okay, on MTP. And what I want to draw out for you guys is you can see here we started to form this bull flag pattern, okay. I actually was too slow on this bull flag pattern. Once I started really paying a lot of attention to MTP, we had already started to break up and out of this flag pattern because I was preoccupied right off the bell with Tesla. I entered that Tesla short, so I missed this initial break out of the flag. But then what I did was I said, okay, now I'm going to draw a line across, okay, that previous high. Okay, just delete this and clear this up for you guys a little bit. Now I'll draw a line across that previous high, and I said I'm going to look to get long on a pullback. So there I went ahead and I got long right there at $3.52. I'll take you guys to my trade announcement so you guys can see long MTP at, I'll zoom in, MTP at 352. Okay, there's a long entry at 352. And then right away we shot up and we broke through the high of the day. Okay, that break, okay, on that move, that break up there through the high of the day, I took some profit off the table on that first break. Okay, back to my trade announcements, took some profit, 375 from the 352 entry. But then here's the part that I want to talk to you about. Notice my next take profit. 3 minutes later, I took more profit off at 363, lower than that initial 375 take profit. Why did I do that? And the reason is because I recognize a bearish signal that is an early warning sign that a stock is starting to tire. When you get long a stock, okay, because of a very specific support level. Okay, in this case, the support level was the previous high of the day. Okay, you guys can see the previous high of the day. There it is. Okay, so what I'm looking for now is I'm getting long in front of this support level. Okay, and when a stock consolidates and you get long in front of a support level and we break the high of the day, this is a new high of the day. That's a new high of the day right there. And then the stock immediately pulls back in to do what? Retest the support level that you just got long in front of. So we broke through the high of the day and immediately pulled back in to retest that level. Okay, that is an early warning sign that a stock is starting to tire. Okay, it's an early sign that it's starting to run out of momentum and run out of steam. So once I saw that, okay, again, there's 375, that first take profit. When I recognized that, I said, okay, guys, I'm going to get out of some more of this position. Okay, right here, there's the 363 where I took more profit off the table because I wasn't really confident in the stock continuing higher. I read that as a bearish signal that the stock was starting to tire, and you can see, bang, there's that huge crack, and I ended up getting flat this position. Okay, right here, back to my trade announcements, you guys can see sold out the remaining piece at 340. Okay, so now let's go back to this. 352 is the entry. Okay, 25% of the position at 375, 50% of the position at 363, and then I took a loss on 25% of the position. Okay, 12 cents a share loss on the 25% of the position. But because we were able to recognize that initial bearish signal, okay, I'm able to exit the bulk of my position here instead of waiting for the crack. Okay, guys, and locking in those profits and protecting myself to the downside when a stock is starting to give me signs or warning signs that it is starting to weaken and it is starting to tire. And weaken, boy, did MTP weaken. I mean, weaken is an understatement. We went from 370 all the way down to 250, 260. Just completely sold off the entire rest of the day after that initial surge. The surge lasted about 45 minutes, and the rest of the day the stock just sold off. Okay, but when you start to see that type of a bearish signal, it's an early warning sign the stock is running out of momentum. Okay, and again, that's when you have a very specific support level and stock is holding above that support level, is consolidating, and the reason why you're getting long is because that support level is holding. Okay, and then you get long in front of that support level, then the stock, you know, consolidates, and then boom, breaks out, makes a new high, and as soon as it breaks out, makes that new high, it very quickly. Okay, when I say not immediate, it doesn't be immediate, it doesn't be 2 seconds later, but very quickly goes from a new high right back down to that same support level that you just bought in front of before the break to the new high. that's a sign the stock is starting to tire. Okay, that's what we saw in MTP. That's why I dropped the bulk of my position there at 363 instead of being greedy, and it saved my ass because I would have taken a loss on that trade had I not done that. Instead, I'm walking away from a failed trade profitable. Good stuff. All right, let's go back to Tesla. All right, guys, so here we are with Tesla, 358, 359 right now. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll be sure to update you guys with the rest of this position. I do plan on holding this to see if we can get below 250. All right, take it easy, gang. I'll see you all tomorrow.